The hum of chatter, clinking coffee cups, and the distant sound of rain against the window filled the air inside the cozy little cafe. Emily sat alone at her usual corner table, a half-eaten sandwich beside her, and a lukewarm coffee cup nestled between her palms. But her eyes weren't on her food. They were fixed on her phone. She scrolled through Instagram. Bright, smiling faces stared back at her. College friends who had become CEO, influencers traveling through Europe, acquaintances showing off diamond rings or baby bumps. A pit formed in her stomach. Ava just bought her second house. She whispered. Emily, 32, had been a schoolteacher for nearly a decade. She lived in a modest apartment, wore simple clothes, and took the bus every morning to a small public school in the heart of the city. She loved teaching, but lately she couldn't help feeling invisible. She stared at the screen again. Her reflection looked back at her, muted by the glossy black surface, tired eyes, unstyled hair, and no sparkle. "What am I doing with my life?" she whispered. She shut off the phone and pressed her face into her hands, unaware that someone across the room was watching her with a quiet, knowing smile. That evening, rain poured steadily, soaking the streets and painting the city in glistening reflections of traffic lights and storefronts. Emily stood under a flickering bus stop sign, her coat damp, and her spirit lower than ever. Next to her, an elderly man in a worn brown coat struggled with a paper grocery bag. Suddenly it tore. Apples rolled into the puddles, and a carton of eggs cracked on the sidewalk. Without hesitation, Emily knelt beside him, gathering the apples and gently setting the broken eggs aside. "Thank you," he said, a bit breathless. Most people would just keep walking. She smiled faintly. "It's nothing." "No," he said firmly, "it's everything." They sat side by side on the bench as the rain softened to a drizzle. The old man pulled his coat tighter around himself and added, "You remind me of someone." Emily raised an eyebrow. He looked out at the rain. "Years ago, I was a broken teenager. My parents were divorcing, I had no friends, and I thought about ending it all. Then one day, a teacher stayed after class just to ask if I was okay. That small moment, that compassion, saved my life. I never forgot it." Emily looked at him, stunned. "That teacher believed in me. I ended up becoming a psychiatrist. I've spent my life helping others the way she helped me." He turned to her, eyes soft. "Sometimes, we don't see the seeds we plant, but that doesn't mean they don't grow." He gently patted her hand, then stood up. "Thank you again, whoever you are, Emily," she replied. "Well, Emily, keep being you. The world needs more of that." And with that, he disappeared into the mist. The next morning, Emily arrived at school with tired eyes, but a quiet determination she hadn't felt in weeks. As the children filed into her classroom, she noticed one student lingering near the door. Noah, a quiet, withdrawn boy who rarely spoke and never smiled. She knelt beside him, meeting his eyes gently. "Noah, you know, it's okay to be quiet, but I want you to know something," she said softly. "You matter. You're not like anyone else, and that's your strength." Noah looked up at her, startled. For a moment it seemed like he was about to say something, but he just nodded, cheeks flushing, and walked to his desk. The rest of the day flew by. Emily poured herself into her lessons like always. But no, a small nod stuck with her, like a bookmark in her heart. 2 weeks later, as Emily packed up her books, she noticed a woman at the door. Noah's mother. Her eyes were red-rimmed. "Miss Emily, may I speak with you?" Emily nodded, concerned. "Noah, he's been struggling," the woman began, her voice shaking. "He was being bullied at his old school. He stopped talking to anyone. We were considering therapy, medication, anything." Emily stayed quiet. "But something changed recently," the woman said. "Last week, he came home smiling. He said someone told him he was strong and that he mattered." Tears welled up in the mother's eyes. "He told me he wants to be a teacher one day, like you." Emily's heart swelled. She hadn't even realized the weight of her words that day. But for one child, they had meant everything. That night, Emily returned home, still carrying the echo of Noah's mother's voice in her mind. She opened a drawer she hadn't looked in for years. Inside, she found a shoebox filled with folded letters, crayon drawings, and small thank you notes from students long gone. She pulled one out. "Dear Miss Emily, thank you for helping me when I was scared to read in front of the class. You made me feel brave." Another, "Because of you I believe in myself. I want to be a doctor now." Emily covered her mouth with her hand, tears falling freely. She looked around her modest apartment. The simple furniture, the chipped mug on the counter, the stack of lesson plans. And for the first time in a long while she didn't feel small. She felt rich, not in money, but in meaning. She realized something. Her impact wasn't flashy or Instagram worthy, but it was real, and it was lasting, and it mattered. The sun broke through the clouds the next morning, casting golden rays into the classroom as children buzzed with energy. Emily stood by the window, watching them play. She breathed in the moment, her heart full. She no longer cared that she didn't have a six-figure job or a passport full of stamps. She didn't need viral posts or external validation. She had smiles, she had laughter, she had hearts she helped shape. That was enough. As the bell rang and the students rushed in, Emily greeted each of them with a smile. She saw Noah whispering to another student, both giggling. She saw joy, and she saw herself in their growth. Emily's story is a gentle reminder that the true measure of a life well lived isn't found in social media feeds, salary comparisons, or material success. It's found in the small, quiet moment, offering a helping hand, believing in someone when they don't believe in themselves, and choosing compassion over comparison. Though Emily once saw herself as less than others, she discovered that her purpose wasn't about being seen, it was about seeing others. Her value wasn't in what the world said she should be, but in what she already was, a light in someone's darkness, a voice of encouragement, a builder of hearts. In the end, the secret of happiness is not found in striving to become someone else, but in fully embracing who you already are, and the lives you're meant to touch just by being you.